André Rieu's family is facing a heartbreaking goodbye after the beloved violinist's tragic diagnosis. Known for bringing joy to millions with his music, Rieu's health battle has shaken his loved ones and fans. Sources close to the family say they struggle to accept the news, even as they rally around him with love and support. But what exactly happened to the King of Waltz, and how is his family preparing for the difficult days ahead? Join us as we look closer at André Rieu's emotional journey and the family's touching farewell, a true end of an era. For 50 years, André Rieu, known worldwide as the King of Waltz, has enchanted audiences with his unforgettable charm and music. However, a wave of concern swept through his loyal fans after several sudden show cancellations. Rumors about his health spread like wildfire, but the family kept silent until now. His son, visibly emotional, has finally confirmed their worst fears, revealing a serious health battle that could signal the end of an extraordinary era in classical music. Throughout his incredible career, André Rieu has dazzled crowds with breathtaking performances and a passion for music that bridged generations. As the heart and soul of the Johann Strauss Orchestra, he built a legacy of grandeur and joy that few could match. Yet, behind the flawless concerts and standing ovations, the Dutch maestro has quietly battled health struggles that once threatened to stop him in his tracks. Fans who adored his unstoppable energy had no idea how close he once came to losing it all. Back in 2010, Rieu was celebrated not just for his music but for his seemingly endless stamina. He proudly said he had never missed a performance because of illness and claimed he had never even experienced jet lag despite his endless world tours. But that impressive streak broke unexpectedly during a holiday in Belgium. In the stillness of the night, Rieu was jolted awake by a wave of intense dizziness, feeling as though the room was spinning uncontrollably. Confused and shaken, he struggled to make sense of it. The morning after the second show in Mexico, André Rieu didn't feel any better. Instead, he felt completely worn out, as if he was falling apart. Looking back at the months before, people could see he had been working non-stop. He was trying hard to finish a big DVD project while dealing with constant traveling and many performances. Even though people always thought he had endless energy and could do anything, what happened next showed a hard truth. Even someone as famous and amazing as André Rieu can get worn down by too much stress and tiredness. No matter how strong someone's spirit or how much they love their work, their body can only handle so much, and sadly, Rieu had reached that point. The warning signs had been there for years, but André Rieu's drive to keep performing often pushed him beyond safe limits. Would history repeat itself? As he prepared for an even more demanding series of concerts in Mexico, Rieu was pushed to the breaking point. He was getting ready for the shows in Mexico and working really hard. He started taking many Spanish lessons and dealing with the very hot weather, trying to fit everything into just a few tiring days. Later, André Rieu said he only knew how to do things in two ways, going fast or stopping completely. He always thought being happy and strong could keep him from getting sick, but he found out he was wrong when doctors told him he had a problem with a nerve in his ear that controls balance. Even a minor cold could make it start, and Rieu would feel dizzy and sick to his stomach whenever he moved. At first, Rieu tried to act like his illness wasn't a big deal, but he started feeling too sick to ignore it. He didn't want to, but he had to cancel big tours in Australia and the UK, which he never thought he'd have to do. Playing music was his life, and he also had to worry about paying everyone who worked for him. He had to make sure it wasn't something terrible like a tumor in his brain. Doctors did a scan, and luckily, it was okay. Rieu wanted to get better, so he tried everything people told him to do, like special exercises to help his balance. He did these daily exercises, like walking in circles and standing on one leg with his eyes shut. After working hard for 3 months, he finally started to feel normal again. Getting better made Rieu think about how he was living. He saw that doing too many things, like dealing with business and talking at events, made him tired. Even though he didn't want to admit it, to fix his life, he made 2 lists. One list had things he loved to do, and the other had things he secretly hated doing. It became clear that he just loved making music. From then on, he promised himself that he would only focus on what made him happy and that he would take good care of his health. Even though doctors said his ear problem usually gets better in a few weeks, they also warned him that stress could make it come back. Rieu knew he had to be careful about that. Sadly, the situation happened again years after he first got sick. There are new worries because his son said that Rieu is having another serious health problem. This time, The trouble started when he was supposed to have a great return to Mexico after not being there for 6 years. All the concerts were sold out, and the first 2 shows had thunderous cheering. But something bad happened again. Less than a day after the second show, André Rieu got sick with a nasty flu that gave him a high fever and completely wore him out. The tour everyone loved had to stop, making fans very sad and worried about what would happen next. Yet, beneath the glittering performances, the warning signs had been slowly building, waiting for a moment when they could no longer be ignored. Could this latest scare finally force him to pause and truly rethink how much more he could give before the price became too high? Hard truths hit home. The remaining concerts on André Rieu's tour had to be cancelled, leaving fans and the crew heartbroken. His son, Pierre Rieu, later opened up about everything that happened. He explained that the long flight, the brutal time difference, and Mexico City's high altitude had taken a heavy toll on André right from the beginning. With only 1 day to rest before hitting the stage, André's body simply could not cope. What started as mild discomfort quickly spiraled into something much worse, and when it became clear he was seriously ill, the team had no choice but to rush him back home. For the fans, the cancellation was a crushing blow. Many had waited years to see him perform again, and every detail of the concerts had been carefully planned. But the disappointment was not just felt in the audience. Behind the scenes, the entire crew was devastated. Pierre admitted that, although it was an incredibly hard decision, there was no room for debate regarding André's health. Those who worked closest with him had always feared something might go wrong on these intense tours, but this time, the worst had finally happened. André stayed dangerously sick for several days, barely able to do anything as the team watched and waited with growing worry. Slowly, his condition improved, but it took nearly a week before he was strong enough even to consider a typical day. The scare was enough to change how the team thought about future tours. Pierre revealed that if they ever planned to return to Mexico, it would not be before 2025. They knew now that André needed more extended rest periods, more careful travel plans, and fewer risks if he was going to continue performing. Adding to the seriousness of the situation was André's age. At 74, the heavy demands of international touring were no longer easy to bounce back from. Pierre was brutally honest, saying that traveling halfway around the world just does not work the same anymore. He joked that people like to compare André to younger stars or athletes, but the reality is that his father is not 30 anymore. Even though André had been smiling backstage after his second show, soaking in the magic of the night, the signs were clear. His body was giving a warning that could no longer be ignored. Deep down, André had likely known for some time that his pace was becoming too much to sustain, but admitting it out loud was another matter entirely. Would this finally be the moment he truly listened to what his body had been trying to tell him all along? After the second concert, André Rieu confessed to his wife that he could no longer handle tours like this again. His body had been sending warning signs for a while, but it was impossible to ignore. This time, the worst had been confirmed, and there was no more room for pushing through. If he wanted to keep playing the music he loved, he had to learn to rest when needed and accept that slowing down was now part of the journey. Even as Rieu faced his struggles, the physical toll on his entire team became impossible to miss. Performing at a high altitude of more than 2,000 meters was difficult, and the air was thinner, affecting the team just as much as it did their leader. Donna Alberti, one of Rieu's lead singers who had been touring with him since January, admitted feeling the strain during rehearsals was becoming visible. Her face would flush bright red, and nosebleeds became a common problem among the group. Though she joked about it, she also shared that during her I Will Survive performance, she had to pause and drink water just to get through it. The conditions were brutal, and it was clear that something had to give. Pierre talked about how proud he was of his dad for knowing when he needed to stop. Canceling the shows was a sad decision, but trying to keep going and collapsing on stage would have been much worse. But it caused a lot of problems. About 40,000 fans were disappointed, and 125 people who worked on the tour had to go home early. These sudden changes caused a lot of confusion, with flights being cancelled, people asking for their money back, and fewer items being sold. Emma, who also performs, said that she was singing to 10,000 people one day, and the whole tour was finished the next day. Even when they walked outside, fans still asked for pictures, not knowing that it might have been the last time they could see André Rieu play in Mexico. The energy leading up to the cancellation had been electric. Outside the concert venue, the atmosphere felt like a bustling festival, with unofficial Rieu merchandise filling the stalls, from mugs and bears to colorful t-shirts. Rieu had laughed about it during his shows, especially when the crowds roared his name during the encores. Fans often wrote to him saying it took them 2 weeks to come down from the high of his concerts. Yet despite all the joy, the end came abruptly. Now resting in Maastricht, André was focused on healing, while Pierre remained hopeful that his father could return for the upcoming concert in Liverpool. As for Mexico, the memories would linger, bittersweet and unforgettable. The sudden end of the Mexico tour left fans reeling, but it also left André facing familiar shadows he had hoped were behind him. Could another emotional blow be enough to stir up the same painful struggles he once fought so hard to overcome? When André Rieu spoke of wanting to stay healthy just so he could keep performing, it now sounds like a warning of what was coming. Sadly, this was not the first time the intense demands of his schedule had shaken his team. Years ago, Rieu had admitted that stress seriously damaged his health. After battling a severe inner ear infection caused by overwork, he promised to focus only on what he loved, which was music. For a time, it seemed he had found a better balance. However, recent events have revived old fears, stirring painful memories among his fans. The first real scare came back in 2016 when André Rieu suddenly cancelled several tour dates without much explanation. Fans were immediately gripped by worry, especially given his past health battles. Rumors flew that he might have suffered another severe relapse. It seemed believable then, and rumors quickly spread across fan communities. However, it later emerged that the cancellations were not because of Rieu's health. Instead, the heartbreaking truth was that a beloved member of his Johann Strauss Orchestra had passed away, and Rieu had needed time to mourn. Even so, the damage had already been done, and the false fears stayed with his audience. Now, almost a decade after his health crisis and years after that painful 2016 loss, a new and unsettling event has struck. Earlier today, it was announced that Rieu's sold-out concert at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham, United Kingdom, had been postponed. The reason was devastating. One of the orchestra's members had suffered a heart attack early that morning. Rieu's production company shared that he was deeply saddened and devastated by the emergency and that the musician who fell ill remains in critical condition. Fans were asked for patience as the team tries to find a new date for the show once things become more stable. Even though this recent cancellation was not tied directly to Rieu's health, it immediately reignited concerns among his fans. With his history of stress-triggered illness, many feared that the emotional weight of the incident could take another toll on him. After all, the Johann Strauss Orchestra is more than a group of musicians to Rieu. It is his second family, a circle of people he has traveled and performed with for decades. For a man who knows the healing power of music and the deep pain of sudden loss, this moment feels especially haunting. The heartbreak of watching a close member of his orchestra suffer only added to the heavy burden André was already carrying. Would this series of painful moments finally push him to change how he approached the life he loved so fiercely? Slowing down for good? This new health problem feels familiar to people who have followed André Rieu for a long time and remember how worried everyone was during the 2016 tour. After dealing with a few problems, André Rieu has made a big decision that shows he understands something essential and serious. After only 2 shows in Mexico, he had to cancel the rest of the tour and fly back home to Maastricht because he suddenly got sick. Even though part of him still wants to perform with much energy for the rest of his life, it was just too difficult this time. Back home with his wife, Marjorie, they realized that trying to do all the cancelled concerts later wasn't impossible. Rieu, who usually avoids speaking publicly about his health, relied on his son and spokesperson Pierre to share the details. Pierre explained that several things hit André at once, starting with the high altitude of the National Auditorium in Mexico City, which sits nearly 2.5 kilometers above sea level. That alone was a heavy burden on his body. Then came a fierce flu that only made things worse. Despite always staying fit with tennis, jogging, and healthy eating, age is a reality Rieu can no longer outrun. His legs had started shaking during shows, and he feared he might collapse on stage, a fear severe enough to trigger the rare decision to cancel. Pierre revealed that in the past, André had often pushed through illnesses, even performing while running a fever. But this time was different. Though he has fully recovered, canceling 4 concerts disappointed tens of thousands of fans. Refunds are being issued, but no new dates have been announced. Rieu has made it clear he does not want to put himself through that kind of physical torture again. Traveling to far-off places like Australia or Mexico is no longer something he can promise. Although concerts in Chile, Argentina, and Colombia are still on the calendar for later this year, future tours will be weighed far more carefully, taking things 1 year at a time. While distant trips may become rare, fans are still welcome to see Rieu in Maastricht, where his famous summer concerts at Vrijthof Square continue to be a highlight. Many say those shows capture his magic better than anywhere else. Even now, it is hard for Rieu to imagine stepping away from the global stage. Music is in his blood, and he realized how much he needed it during his illness. Staying home made him feel restless and out of sorts. To protect his health going forward, Rieu and his team have agreed to scale back all non-essential activities. Fewer interviews, fewer events, and a lighter schedule overall. He admitted that when his calendar becomes too full, his balance organs act up, causing dizziness, making performing impossible. It is a battle he now takes seriously, choosing his health to continue sharing his gift for as long as he can. While André Rieu had made the difficult decision to slow down for his health, his passion for music and performance remained as strong as ever. How did the man behind such global success first build the life and career that would captivate millions? The man behind the magic, André Leon Marie Nicolas Rieu, born on October 1, 1949, is a Dutch violinist and conductor best known for founding the world-famous Johann Strauss Orchestra. Touring globally with his orchestra, Rieu often plays to massive stadium crowds and has built a loyal following across continents. Despite his worldwide fame, he remains deeply connected to his roots, living in his hometown of Maastricht, where he regularly lights up the Vrijthof Square with his spectacular concerts. Rieu's story begins with a rich musical heritage. His surname comes from French Huguenot ancestry. Although his parents were devout Roman Catholics, he grew up as the third of 6 children with a strict upbringing under the watchful eye of his father, a conductor of the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra. Showing natural talent early on, André picked up the violin at the age of 5 and later studied at top music institutions like the Conservatoire Royal in Liège and the Conservatorium Maastricht, eventually earning the prestigious Premier Prix from the Royal Conservatory of Brussels in 1975. Rieu married Marjorie Kaufmann, a talented language teacher who dabbled in composing music. Together, they raised 2 sons, one of whom, Pierre, works closely with the Johann Strauss Orchestra as a producer. Rieu now lives in a charming small castle in Maastricht, which he believes was once home to the historical figure Charles Debit's Castlemore d'Artagnan. A true citizen of the world, Rieu speaks 6 languages fluently: Dutch, English, German, French, Italian, and Spanish. By 2016, his net worth was estimated at £25 million, a testament to his remarkable career. The Johann Strauss Orchestra was born from Rieu's dream of making classical music more lively and accessible. Starting modestly in 1987 with only 12 musicians, their first concert occurred on January 1, 1988. Today, the orchestra boasts between 50 and 60 members, with Rieu performing on a priceless 1667 Stradivarius violin. Their performances have captivated audiences across Europe, the Americas, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. One of Rieu's most ambitious projects came in 2008 when he toured with a full-scale replica of Empress Cécé's castle, setting a new record for the most significant touring stage. Although some fans playfully suggested he could have a second career as a baker, Rieu quickly dismissed the idea with good humor. While he found great joy in baking, nothing could ever take the place of music in his heart. Through his spokesperson, he made it clear that while creating pastries filled a gap during difficult times, his true passion remained where it had always been, on stage, violin in hand, sharing unforgettable moments with the world. In the end, no matter how much he adjusts his schedule or explores new hobbies, André Rieu's soul belongs to music. What do you think about André Rieu's heartbreaking health battles? Can the King of Waltz find a way to keep performing without risking it all? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.